Good morning. So today I am headed out to do some tulip planting. It is November, mid-November in Zone 7A, and we're still having spring weather, but the nights are getting cold and soon our highs will be dropping to be in the 50s or so. So I think I'm ready to plant tulips. I have about 200 bulbs. They're from Color Blends, and I'm doing something a little different this year. Usually I put my tulip bulbs in containers. When you do that, it is easy to plant versus the ground where you have to dig it up and it can be a lot of work. But because I ripped out my roses, I really don't have early spring color in my front garden bed anymore. And so I want to take this opportunity to do that with tulips. And since I'm already doing something different, I figured I could do something different color-wise. So I usually use soft whites, pinks, and purples in my garden, but this year I am going to be doing red tulip bulbs. I've got 200 tulip bulbs from Color Blends. The first is a King's Blood, and this is a beautiful, regal, royal, deep wine red. It's kind of funny because red was my favorite color growing up, so it's kind of interesting that I don't have it in my garden, but this year I will be remedying that. And to complement those beautiful King's Blood tulips, I've also got 100 of Maryland. And so Maryland is a beautiful white tulip that has a stripe of that same beautiful red that you find in King's Blood. And I think the two of them will complement each other really, really well. So, like I said, this is my first time doing tulips in the ground, and so I'm going to be trying out some methods. I do not have an auger, so I'm going to be trying out either trenching or simply softening the soil, working the soil, tilling the soil, and pushing the tulip bulbs down. These tulip bulbs go about 5 inches into the ground, so it's not too deep, but I've definitely got some work cut out for me today. So please come along, let's go plant! This is my planting bed for today. My roses are gone, and there's a few fading denim and lace Russian sages that I have put here for the spring. I'm gonna get a few more so that this bed is completely full of them, but I wanna wait to do that until spring. And as you can see, these guys are on their last leg, and these guys do not bloom, or at least do not put on leaves, until a little bit later in the spring, early summer. And so I think the tulip bulbs will be really nice here to complement them. It will give this bed a completely full look for spring, all the spring color.
So first things first, because this is an existing planting bed, I've got to pull back the mulch so that I can work with the soil. So now that the soil is bare, I have my handy dandy pitchfork, and I'm going to get in there and really just manually till the soil. And this is really the back-breaking part of this project. It wasn't as bad as it seems, but I'm basically tilling, but I am the tiller. I eventually found that a shovel actually works better than this pitchfork, so you will see me switch over tools. But my approach is just to soften the soil. If I soften the soil, then it's going to be much easier to use a hand trowel to place the tulips. Now that the soil is effectively tilled in this first little part of the planting bed, I'm just throwing out the tulips. I wanted to make sure that they were interspersed very well. So I started first with the first variety, King's Blood, and then followed up with Maryland, just to make sure that the tulips were really well blended together in the planting bed. Then I got in there with my hand trowel and just did the manual work of planting each tulip bulb. Here's a close-up so you can see what I did more clearly. I just worked the hand trowel into the ground, pulled back the soil, make sure that it was deep enough. These tulips needed to be at least 5 inches into the soil. Once I created that hole, I just made sure that my tulip bulb was in the right place. These go in pointy side up, root side down. And so I just made that hole, made sure they're facing the right direction, put it back in the hole, and then covered it back up with soil. That was easy enough. The real work was repeating that 200 times. So after I got that first section of the planting bed completed, I just moved on along to the second. So after much to do, this is the final look. The planting bed looks exactly like it did at the beginning. You cannot tell that there are tulips planted here. But come spring, there will be a beautiful surprise. King's Blood and Maryland tulips. I cannot wait. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will definitely update you come spring. Take care.